This past weekend, advocates of medicinal cannabis in Tasmania organised a public forum for those who are keen to find out more about the state of play with medicinal cannabis. Lots of people were invited and represented: patients, MPs, pharmacists, psychologists, and people from the cannabis industry. One person particularly keen to hear more and present more points of view was Lynn Cleaver, who is an advocate for medicinal cannabis. Lynn Cleaver, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well. How was the attendance on Saturday?
Wonderful, wonderful. We met a lot of people who were desperate for relief. I think our attendance was around about 110 people, which was quite overwhelming.
And did you have a good roll-up from government representatives?
Yes, fabulous. We had really good support from Labor. We had Anne Urquhart come along and speak, and Murray Giddings, and Ross Hart, who is the candidate here in Launceston. And we had great support from the Greens and some members of the Legislative Council as well, which is great. We had Kerry Finch hosting our event, which was really, really kind of him.
Did you have anyone from the government?
Not that we're aware of. I'm not sure whether we did invite them, but they all declined. I'm not sure whether they sent along an observer. I really hope so, because I think they need to understand, the suffering that's out there and address that.
Medicinal cannabis, it's used in therapy for cancer, pain, paediatric, epilepsy?
Yeah, it can be used for a number of conditions, and the thing about cannabis is that it's safe and it's non-toxic. In our personal experience for our brain-injured son, we treat his uncontrolled seizures, and it's the first and only treatment that we've ever used that comes with no side effects, which is quite remarkable considering the list of side effects he suffered from pharmaceutical anticonvulsant therapy.
How old is he, Lynn?
He's 25 today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah.
So what sort of a difference has it made in his life to have access to cannabis therapy?
Well, I think, one of the greatest benefits for Jeremy is that we've been able to reduce his anticonvulsant therapy. So he's only on one medication at the moment, one very small dose, because he was suffering so many toxic side effects. 4 or 5 times a week he'd be vomiting and have blurred vision and couldn't walk, and this was all about 15 minutes after giving him his medication. So, that was quite debilitating to Jeremy. And his seizures are less intense and less frequent, and it's really, really terrific therapy for him.
And what prompted you to try it in the first place?
We were just coming out the end of a drug-induced psychosis from one of his anticonvulsant medications, and his insomnia was also out of control. So the neurologist advised us to start a sedative on top of the 3 anticonvulsants that he was taking at the time, and at that stage we didn't want to drug him to the point we had no right to feel anything. So we defied our neurologist and started him on cannabis therapy.
Let's have a chat about what came out of the forum on the weekend. What sort of questions were people asking? What did they want to know?
Basically, people want to know how to get it or how to make it themselves. And also they want to know, what is the government doing about this? And all we could tell them was, look, the government signed a memorandum of understanding with Mike Baird in New South Wales, and that's been it. It's been a stalemate since then. There's been nothing more done. So, and a memorandum of understanding hardly addresses the fact there are Tasmanians suffering.
So in terms of people wanting to access medicinal cannabis at the moment, it's still not a situation where it's legal? No,
but there's a terrific, compassionate group in Tasmania who grow it and make the medicine. And there's also medicine makers on the mainland that people can access medicines from. But really what we want to do, in Tassie, if the government doesn't do something, we're going to step in and fill the gaps. We'll work to co-op and make the medicine and make it available to people, and also teach them how to do it themselves, how to grow, how to make the medicine.
Aren't you at risk of being charged with an offence, if that's the case?
Yes. Yes, but, we can't turn our backs on these people. Like we're certainly not going to have the government dictate to us what we treat our own son with, and we can't turn our backs on people who ask us for help.
Lynn, you're an advocate, obviously, for
Mm-hmm.
progressing the cause of medicinal cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
Do you look at another country around the globe and say they've got it right?
There's lots of countries around the globe that have it right. In Israel, for example, they've got 20,000 patients that are under a government organised access scheme, getting cannabis from the government. 20,000 people, and across the US. The unfortunate thing about the US is it's not federally legalised. It's only in different states. So
It's a state-by-state proposition there.
Yeah. So I think what we're asking for in Tasmania at the moment, while the government sorts out how they're going to do this, or when the Hodgman government decides they're going to do something, we're asking for an amnesty, protection for the people who grow the medicine, and protection for the people who use it, because quite frankly they've got enough stress in their life. They're either incredibly ill or caring for somebody who's incredibly ill, and legislation in place that would protect us is what is needed.
What is the situation at the moment with being charged with an offence? Is there a level of understanding from the Tasmania Police as to what's going on?
Well, we contacted Tasmanian Police. They know what we're doing, and Mr. Hodgman has said that no medicinal users would be pursued, but him saying something like that does nothing to quell the fear of people. I had a little 80-year-old woman come up to me and she said, I just don't want to break the law, and I'm in so much pain. And there are people out there who are not willing to break the law, and they are suffering, living and dying in pain.
What next, Lynn? What actions have come out of this forum on the weekend?
Well, I think we sort of we all came away with a sense of confidence in what we can do, to be self-sufficient in our own healthcare, but also, to keep putting pressure on the government, keep writing, keep calling. We've had an open invitation to Michael Ferguson to come and see our medicine garden for 5 or so months now. So that still stands. If you'd like to come and look at our garden, then we can talk to him about how we make medicine. And we're also planning on setting up a pro-medicinal cannabis rally for later in the year.